You think weakness looks like fear or submission. It doesn't. Weakness looks like over-explaining. It looks like responding too quickly. It looks like being reasonable in rooms that reward pressure, not logic. Every time you rush to clarify, to justify, to prove good intent, you announce something dangerous. That perception matters more to you than position. People don't need to challenge you openly when you expose yourself voluntarily. They simply wait, watch, and adjust. And you mistake their silence for agreement while they quietly downgrade your status. The rules you're breaking aren't obvious because they're disguised as virtues. Transparency, fairness, cooperation. These behaviors don't make you moral in a power environment. They make you readable. And what is readable becomes predictable. Predictability invites control. When people know how you react, how far you bend, and what you tolerate, they don't need to dominate you. They manage you. You lose leverage not through confrontation, but through participation. You stay engaged while your influence disappears. Weakness isn't about lack of confidence. It's about lack of restraint. Strong positions are quiet. They don't argue. They don't rush. They don't seek validation. They let outcomes speak and allow others to sit with uncertainty. The moment you stop protecting comfort and start protecting position, the dynamic shifts, not because you change who you are, but because you stop advertising it. If this feels uncomfortable, that's the point. Comment, "I broke the rules," if you recognize yourself. Subscribe to Dark Psychology Blueprint and turn on notifications. The next breakdown exposes the exact behaviors people read before they decide whether to respect you or use you. You explain yourself when no explanation is required. The moment you explain without being demanded, you downgrade your position. You convert a decision into a proposal and authority into a preference. Explanation signals that your stance is provisional, open to review, and dependent on acceptance. Machiavelli understood that power operates on assumption, not persuasion. When you justify yourself, you invite evaluation. Others stop responding to the outcome and begin dissecting the reasoning. They weigh, compare, and contest because you taught them they could. What should have been final becomes conditional. You did not lose control through opposition. You surrendered it through commentary. Every explanation creates a surface for manipulation. Once your logic is exposed, it can be reframed, delayed, or weaponized. A single sentence becomes precedent. A clarification becomes a loophole. Your words are replayed later to bind you to circumstances that no longer exist. You believe explanation prevents misunderstanding. It actually manufactures future constraint. Silence would have preserved mobility. Explanation fixes you in place. Machiavelli warned against this trap because it replaces consequence with conversation. Those who wish to manage you do not argue against your decision. They argue within your explanation. They gain influence without confrontation, simply by engaging the terms you volunteered. Explaining also reveals your emotional priorities. It tells others that perception matters to you more than position. They learn that confusion, disappointment, or hesitation will pull more words out of you. So they create it. They pause. They ask for clarity. They imply concern. And you comply, believing cooperation maintains harmony. In reality, you are being trained. Each additional explanation reduces your authority and increases their leverage. You become predictable. Discomfort produces speech. Machiavelli understood that predictability is fatal in power dynamics. The one who can be pressured into explanation can be pressured into concession. Those who retain power explain selectively, after outcomes are secured, and only when explanation strengthens control. Everyone else explains to feel safe. That distinction decides hierarchy. Strong positions do not need to be defended. They need to be enforced. When you stop explaining yourself without necessity, the environment recalibrates. People speak more carefully. Requests become measured. Challenges soften into compliance, not because you argued better, but because you stopped inviting argument at all. In Machiavellian terms, authority begins the moment explanation ends. You respond too quickly to prove availability. Speed is not efficiency in power dynamics. It is exposure. When you reply immediately, you signal that you are waiting, watching, and prioritizing access over position. You think responsiveness communicates professionalism or respect. It doesn't. It communicates readiness to be interrupted. Machiavelli understood that those who are always available are never prioritized. Immediate response collapses hierarchy. It tells others that your time is elastic, Your focus is negotiable, and your presence can be summoned on demand. Once that signal is sent, your availability becomes expected rather than appreciated. You are no longer engaged by choice. You are accessed by entitlement. Rapid response also removes pressure from the other side. When you answer instantly, you relieve their uncertainty. You give them closure, reassurance, and control of tempo. They do not need to consider consequences or refine their requests because you already complied with attention. Power favors the party that controls timing. Delays force recalibration. Silence creates weight. Speed creates comfort. Machiavelli's insight was clear. Comfort benefits the observer, not the actor. By responding too quickly, you do the emotional labor for others while weakening your negotiating position. You teach them that urgency is unnecessary because you will accommodate regardless. Responding quickly exposes emotional dependency. It reveals that you fear being overlooked, forgotten, or replaced. That fear becomes leverage. Others learn that withholding response will pull reaction out of you, so they use it strategically. They delay to see if you follow up. They pause to watch you adjust tone. They create gaps to test how much you need engagement. Meanwhile, they remain composed because they are not dependent on immediacy. Machiavelli warned that the one who needs contact more loses control of exchange. When response time is driven by anxiety rather than intention, authority evaporates. Those who hold power respond when response changes outcome. They are not rushed by expectation. They are not pressured by silence. They allow time to work in their favor, letting others reveal impatience, insecurity, or overinvestment. This is not negligence. It is positioning. When you stop responding quickly, people become more precise, more respectful, and more cautious. Requests improve. Tone adjusts. Access becomes conditional. You did not become distant. You became costly. In Machiavellian terms, control of tempo is control of interaction. The moment you stop proving availability, you stop being managed by it. You try to be fair in environments that reward leverage. Fairness is a moral concept, not a strategic one. When you enter competitive environments expecting balance, reciprocity, and restraint, you misread the terrain. These arenas are not governed by equity. They are governed by advantage. Machiavelli understood that fairness has no enforcement mechanism unless it is backed by power. When you act fairly without leverage, you're not being principled. You are being exposed. Others do not meet your fairness with gratitude. They meet it with calculation. They recognize that you will limit yourself while they do not have to. That asymmetry becomes your weakness. Try and be fair also delays decisive action. You pause to consider the other side's comfort. You soften terms to appear reasonable. You concede ground to maintain balance. Meanwhile, those operating on leverage move without hesitation. They push boundaries because they know you will hesitate to push back. They escalate demands because they know you will negotiate instead of enforce. Machiavelli warned that those who prioritize appearing just over securing position invite domination. In leverage-driven environments, fairness is interpreted as negotiability, and anything negotiable will be tested. Fairness also exposes your internal rules. When you consistently choose balanced outcomes, others learn how to manipulate you. They frame demands as reasonable. They disguise pressure as compromise. They present unequal terms as mutual benefit. You comply because refusing feels unjust. That feeling is a trap. Leverage does not care about justice. It cares about outcome. By binding yourself to fairness, you allow others to exploit your restraint. You become predictable, and predictability is what leverage feeds on. Those who succeed in these environments do not reject fairness. They subordinate it. They secure a position first, then choose when fairness is useful. They understand that justice without consequence is decoration. When you stop trying to be fair where leverage rules, the dynamic shifts. You stop negotiating against yourself. You stop rewarding pressure. You stop conceding to appear balanced. People recalibrate because the cost of pushing you increases. In Machiavellian terms, fairness is a luxury afforded by power, not a substitute for it. Until you have leverage, fairness does not protect you. It marks you as available to be managed. You reveal intentions before results exist. The moment you announce what you plan to do, you surrender the advantage of uncertainty. You think intention signals confidence and integrity. It doesn't. It signals exposure. When others know your direction before you have outcomes, they stop reacting to you and start reacting against your objective. They measure how your goal affects their interests and adjust accordingly. Machiavelli understood that intention is strategic intelligence. If it is disclosed without protection, it invites interference. You believe clarity builds support. In practice, it mobilizes resistance management and quiet obstruction long before you have leverage to counter it. Revealing intentions early converts action into debate. Opinions arrive disguised as advice. Conditions appear framed as prudence. Delays are justified as responsibility. None of this looks like opposition, which is why it works. Your transparency gives others permission to participate in decisions that were never theirs to shape. You begin explaining timelines, defending ambition, and negotiating scope. Momentum dissolves into process. The environment feels collaborative while your control evaporates. Machiavelli warned that attention attracts interference. By making your direction public, you invite supervision from those who gain nothing by your success and much from slowing it. Early intention also binds you psychologically. Once you declare your goal, retreat becomes embarrassment and adaptation becomes inconsistency. You lock your identity to a future not yet secured. Others hold you to your words while conditions shift. You continue forward not because it is optimal, but because you already spoke. This is how honesty becomes a trap. The silent operator retains mobility. The loud planner becomes predictable. When outcomes are absent, words become commitments you cannot renegotiate without paying a reputational cost. Machiavelli valued flexibility over moral exhibition because survival depends on the ability to change course without permission. The result is quiet management. People don't block you openly. They stall. They reframe. They drain energy through clarification and consensus. They let you exhaust yourself justifying a future that does not yet exist. You keep talking because you believe explanation protects momentum. It never does. Results protect momentum. Until then, intention should remain contained. In Machiavellian terms, power speaks last. Secure position first. Produce outcome. Then reveal purpose when resistance no longer matters. When you reverse the order, you're not opposed, you are governed. You seek agreement instead of enforcing standards. Agreement feels cooperative, but it is structurally weak. When you seek agreement, you ask others to validate what should already be decided. You convert standards into proposals and boundaries into preferences. Machiavelli understood that authority is not built by consensus. It is built by consequence. The moment you ask for agreement, you signal that compliance is optional. Others sense this immediately. They debate, delay, and negotiate because you taught them that your standards exist only if they are approved. What should have been non-negotiable becomes conditional, and conditional rules invite challenge. Seeking agreement also shifts the burden of discipline onto conversation. You explain why a standard exists instead of enforcing it. You persuade instead of acting. This invites endless dialogue, because dialogue favors a party with less at stake. They can question intent, reinterpret language, and request exceptions without cost. You, meanwhile, invest time defending principles that should never require defense. Machiavelli warned that when enforcement is replaced by explanation, order collapses. People do not respect what must be justified. They respect what produces immediate consequence when violated. Agreement seeking exposes insecurity. It reveals that you fear resistance more than you value structure. Others learn that discomfort pressures you into compromise. They escalate demands knowing you will try to keep the peace. Standards become elastic, applied unevenly to preserve harmony. That dynamic rewards those who push hardest and punishes those who comply quietly. Over time, your environment fills with negotiators rather than adherents. You manage reactions instead of maintaining order. The hierarchy reverses. You accommodate those who should be adjusting to you. Enforcing standards eliminates this decay. It removes debate and replaces it with clarity. People adapt because they must, not because they agree. Those who align remain. Those who resist exit. Both outcomes strengthen position. Machiavelli's logic is unforgiving. Standards without enforcement are decoration. Agreement is fragile because it depends on mood and incentive. Enforcement is stable because it depends on consequence. When you stop seeking agreement and start enforcing standards, the environment recalibrates. Requests become measured. Behavior improves. Respect returns not because you convinced anyone, but because you made the cost of violation undeniable. You mistake emotional openness for strength. Emotional openness feels courageous because it exposes vulnerability, but in power dynamics, vulnerability is not admired. It is assessed. When you reveal emotions freely, you provide a map of your internal state. Others learn what unsettles you, what motivates you, and what you fear losing. Machiavelli understood that power depends on opacity, not confession. Strength is not the absence of emotion. It is the control of its display. When you expose feelings without necessity, you surrender informational advantage. People no longer need to guess how to pressure you. They already know where to apply force. Emotional openness invites emotional management. Once others know what affects you, they begin adjusting behavior to provoke, soothe, or destabilize you depending on what benefits them. Sympathy becomes a tactic. Concern becomes leverage. Silence becomes punishment. You believe openness builds trust. In reality, it builds familiarity, and familiarity reduces caution. People stop treating you carefully because they believe they understand you. And once you are understood, you are no longer feared. Machiavelli warned that fear restrains behavior. Familiarity invites intrusion. Emotional transparency trades restraint for access. You also underestimate how emotional openness erodes authority. When you share frustration, doubt, or insecurity, you humanize yourself in environments that reward hierarchy, not relatability. Authority depends on perceived stability. Emotional disclosure introduces volatility. Others question your judgment, patience, and resilience, even if they never say it aloud. They adjust how seriously they take you. They test limits more aggressively. They assume you can be negotiated with emotionally. You may feel authentic, but authenticity without control weakens position. Machiavelli valued appearance not for deception, but for governance. Appearances structure behavior long before words do. True strength is selective disclosure. It is choosing when emotion serves outcome and when it does not. The powerful do not suppress emotion. They ration it. They do not deny vulnerability. They deploy it strategically. Emotional openness without purpose is indulgence, not courage. It satisfies an internal urge to be seen rather than securing external advantage. When you mistake openness for strength, you give others access to your inner workings while retaining responsibility for the consequences. In Machiavellian terms, that is not honesty, it is disarmament. You avoid tension instead of using it. Tension is not danger, it is information. When tension appears, it signals a boundary, a conflict of interest, or a shift in hierarchy. Avoiding it does not remove the problem. It hands control to whoever is willing to sit inside it longer than you. Machiavelli understood that tension is where positions are decided. The one who flinches first reveals weakness. When you rush to smooth things over, change the subject, or compromise prematurely, you communicate that discomfort controls you. Others learn that pressure works. They do not need to argue. They only need to make the room uncomfortable and wait for you to concede. Avoiding tension converts moments of leverage into moments of loss. When stakes rise and silence thickens, you feel the urge to restore calm. You explain, you soften, you negotiate against yourself to regain emotional equilibrium. That relief comes at a price. You surrender ground. The other party does not need to escalate because you already moved. Machiavelli warned that those who fear friction will always be directed by those who create it. Tension is a test of endurance. Whoever tolerates it longer dictates terms. By avoiding it, you forfeit the test before it begins. Tension also exposes character. People reveal priorities when outcomes are uncertain and emotions are strained. Some become impatient. Some become entitled. Some become manipulative. If you dissolve tension too quickly, you never see this. You protect others from revealing themselves. You choose comfort over clarity. Machiavelli valued tension because it forces alignment or separation. It shows who will adjust and who will resist. When you avoid tension, you preserve relationships that should have ended and weaken positions that should have hardened. You trade short-term peace for long-term instability. Using tension does not mean aggression. It means restraint. It means allowing silence to stretch, letting discomfort do the work explanations cannot. It means holding position while others negotiate internally. When you stay calm inside tension, you reverse the dynamic. Others begin to fill the space. They justify. They concede. They reveal urgency. You gain information without revealing intent. Machiavelli's rule is direct. Tension is leverage for those who can withstand it. When you stop avoiding tension and start using it, hierarchy clarifies without argument. The environment adjusts not because you forced it, but because you did not retreat. You were never weak because you lacked intelligence or effort. You were weak because you kept trading position for comfort. You explained when silence would have protected you. You moved when waiting would have secured you. You tried to be fair where leverage ruled. None of this was accidental. It was conditioning. And once behavior becomes predictable, control no longer needs force. It only needs patience. Machiavelli didn't describe monsters. He described systems. And systems do not care about intent. If this landed comment, I see the pattern, so I know who is no longer guessing. Subscribe to Dark Psychology Blueprint and turn on notifications. The next breakdown doesn't show you how to gain power. It shows you exactly how it's taken from people who think they're doing everything right.